Thank you all. Thank you all for being here with us at what has been an extraordinary global forum. I would like to begin by thanking all of my dedicated colleagues who worked early mornings and late nights to make Global Forum possible. Special thanks to the Global Events team, Daniel Silver, Leslie Cleon, Claire Bailey-Bleifeder, Mara Stein, Lindsay Siegel, Kelly Mahoney, Alex Rubin Sands, Bonnie Gluck, all supported by Belle Yoeli. It really does take a village. Thanks to all of them. Thanks as well to Casey and Jack. Thanks to Brett and Jen. I am so grateful for the opportunity to work with such a remarkable group of colleagues like all of them and Sophie and all of you all throughout this hall. I also want to thank and extend my deep gratitude to outgoing AJC President, my amazing partner, Michael Tickner. I want to extend thanks as well to incoming AJC President Bobby Lapin, our incoming Chair of the Board of Governors, Melanie Nelkin, our remarkable Chair of the Board of Trustees, Stephen Wish. I want to thank the Executive Council, the Board of Governors, regional leadership from across the United States for their support, as well as everyone, all of the AJC lay leaders who chaired and introduced sessions here at Global Forum. I also want to thank our more than 150 global Jewish leaders representing 45 countries, as well as the government leaders, diplomats, and other leaders who have been here with us. It has been our honor to have you with us. And just seeing, since I didn't give anyone a heads up I was going to do this, if it's possible to turn the lights up for a second, I want to highlight the amazing young people in the room, more than 175 leaders from 46 universities across the US and 28 countries. Please rise. Keep the lights up for 1 second. And the more than 200 members of AJC's Global Access Program for Young Professionals from 14 different countries. And finally, a delegation of high school students who are part of our Leaders for Tomorrow program that empowers and develops teen advocates. Thank you for being here. Lastly, I want to acknowledge Karen Tickner, Eve Lapin, Alan Nelkin, Debbie Wish, and yes, especially Jill Deutch, for all of your commitments to what we do. Michael, Bobby, Melanie, Stephen, and I are all blessed to have a partner who strengthens us in the work we do together. All right. I've always found it profoundly moving that Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut flow directly into the other. Israelis mourn those lost in defense of their nation. This year, marking the loss of 25,420 who have fallen in defense of Eretz Yisrael, 319 being added just this year. Even on this Yom HaZikaron, we remember the 5,229 civilians murdered in terror attacks. And then, before the tears have even dried, we celebrate the independence of those heroes, the independence that those heroes died to create and protect, That juxtaposition of mourning and celebration isn't just powerful, it is deeply Jewish. Darkness followed by light. It's the story of Passover. It's the story of Purim. It's the story of rebuilding a homeland in the shadow of the Shoah. Time and time again in the Jewish story, light has overcome darkness because of the unbreakable spirit of our people. This moment we're in now will be no different, but only if we choose to make that the reality. If we choose action over apathy, if we choose action over fear, if we choose to live as proud Jews and proud Zionists in the face of so much hatred. And I want to tell you that after the past 3 days, I am now more certain than ever that we, all of us, will proudly and defiantly and boldly leave here today committing that the Jewish community and Israel will remain strong and that we will literally go from strength to strength. Now, over the past 3 days, we've experienced AJC's vision for the future, a world where global Jewish life is not only safe, but thriving, where Israel stands strong and proud among the nations. And yes, realizing this vision demands that we fight. We fight against anti-Semitism on college campuses, just like those amazing Sharon Green Award winners that we heard from yesterday. We fight when swastikas deface synagogues and Jewish spaces. Yes, it demands that we combat anti-Semitism from the far right and from the far left. Because as we know from the Tree of Life shooting, the far right anti-Semitic march in Charlottesville from just a few weeks ago, when Governor Shapiro's home was set on fire during Pesach, anti-Semitism does not check anyone's party affiliation before it strikes. And yes, it demands that we defend Israel against diplomatic attacks, against dangerous lies in the media, against efforts to isolate and delegitimize the world's only Jewish state. But let's also agree on something else. We cannot only define ourselves by what we are against. We must also be proud of what we are for. We are fighting for a positive Jewish future, for Jewish pride, for the right to live openly, joyfully, and freely as Jews everywhere in the world. We are fighting for a world where moral clarity matters, where institutions like the ICJ, the ICC, the UN Human Rights Council welcome the democratic state of Israel and shun the human rights violators working to delegitimize the world's only Jewish state. That's what AJC is doing every single day all around the world. Shortly after October 7th, I traveled with a group of AJC leaders to Israel. Someone asked President Herzog, what can we do to help? And his response, it was everything. Everything. So for the past 571 days, AJC has risen to meet that challenge. Last year, on the Global Forum stage, I told you how AJC was going to dramatically increase our efforts to secure Israel's place in the region and to defend Jewish students on campus. Since then, our Center for New Middle East has been active in creating and deepening partnerships between Israel and its neighbors through diplomacy, civil society, and business, including through a series of events in the US and around the world, bringing together Israeli and regional leaders. Our incredible professionals in Washington and Abu Dhabi, Jerusalem, and around the world are continuing to scale these efforts to lay the foundation necessary for greater understanding and to secure Israel's place in the region for decades to come. And our Center for Education Advocacy is, quite frankly, leading the charge on the most important battlefield in the fight for our community, in the fight against anti-Semitism, our educational spaces. In partnership with Hillel International and the American Council on Education, the Center for Education Advocacy brought together more than 75 university presidents from all across the country to address the crisis of anti-Semitism on campus. And we've continued to work with government officials and educational institutions at every level: public schools, independent schools, charter schools, to ensure that Jews and Zionists in the classroom and on campus will not only no longer live in fear, but will thrive. We've defended Israel from diplomatic attacks and slander in the global media. We've stood up for Jewish students in K-12 schools and on university campuses. We brought dozens of delegations of hostage families and former hostages, as well as our message of moral clarity, to halls of power across the globe. There is so much for us to be proud of. My friends, the fact that we have held more than 500 meetings giving voice to the hostage families and demanding that every hostage be brought home is among the very highest of our achievements. We owe it to them. We should be proud of the work that we've done to elevate their stories. And AJC today is in a position of great strength. This global forum, this room, all of you here today are a testament to that strength. In a matter of 24 hours, you all rose to the challenge presented by a generous anonymous donor and raised $1 million to help pursue our shared mission. But you didn't just do that. You exceeded the goal. Another generous donor extended the challenge. And since the start of Global Forum, you've invested $1.5 million in AJC already, and I thank you for your generosity. But the Jewish state and the Jewish people continue to be in crisis mode. And we at AJC know that it's not enough to only respond to today's problems. We must, as we always have, continue to look to the future, to tomorrow's opportunities, to the challenges that we may not see immediately in front of us. And whatever we face, we must take charge of our own destiny. That is why all of you are here, because you understand that responsibility and you're joining with AJC to fulfill it. I want you to imagine a world where instead of 56% of American Jews changing their behavior out of fear of anti-Semitism, the number reflected in our most recent survey, that number is less than 5%. Where no Jew hesitates to wear a Magen David to school, where campuses and classrooms are filled only with debate and not chants of hate. Where Jews in Europe and the United States don't need to go through metal detectors to enter a synagogue in every Jewish institution that they visit. And where Israel has deep economic, social, and cultural partnerships with the Arab and Muslim world and with the entire community of nations. That world is possible. And AJC is uniquely positioned to create it. With our 40 global offices, 25 across the US, 15 overseas posts on 6 continents, dozens of partnerships with Jewish communal organizations, wherever the Jewish people need us, AJC is there. We are a global people. The challenges the Jewish community faces are global. What happens to Jews in Johannesburg impacts Jews in Jerusalem. Same with Berlin and Boston and New Delhi and New York. Antisemitism is a global phenomenon. Anti-Zionism is a global phenomenon. We need AJC with our global infrastructure and expertise, so much of which we've had the benefit of hearing from throughout this global forum. We need that global architecture and expertise to address these threats. Because ultimately, we are one people, one family. Kol Yisrael Arvim Zeh Bazeh. All Jews are responsible one for another. Through this global network, AJC is creating trusted partnerships with leaders at the highest levels in government, diplomacy, business, education, and civil society in the US and around the world. We use these relationships with leaders to create a world where Jews in Israel thrive. At AJC, our relationships with leaders, it's not where our advocacy ends. It's where it begins. The other day, I spoke about how AJC approaches issues in a nuanced and thoughtful way, always, even in our polarized times, especially in our polarized times. Fundamental to our approach is to always remain civil and respectful. It's what we expect from ourselves. It's also what we expect from our Global Forum stage. Through these relationships and our advocacy, we train, we educate, we change and influence policy. AJC creates real, lasting change for the Jewish people. For the 2.5 years that I've been blessed to be the CEO of this amazing organization, I've listened, I've learned, I've traveled extensively to understand the needs of Jewish communities around the world, including all across the United States. I've met with so many of you in your communities. I've stood with you, I've worked with and confronted leaders with you. We've made change together. And now, as AJC prepares to turn 120, we are building the next chapter. Over the past year, we've asked ourselves, what can we be doing even better? What is AJC's unique contribution to the global Jewish community? Because the world has changed. The threats are more pronounced. The stakes are higher. And the moment demands not just action, but real leadership. So we've worked to define and sharpen our focus through a new strategic plan. It will guarantee that AJC will maximize our impact in order to fulfill our mission. In a fast-changing world, we need to move with clarity and agility to be the strongest advocates for the Jewish people in Israel. And I have to tell you, I have never been more energized for the work ahead. After this global forum, these amazing 2 days that we have spent together, I know that you feel the same way. So look at how we have always stepped up. We are a people who went from being slaves in Egypt and then withstood life in the desert for 1.5 generations to establish the kingdom of Israel. After the darkest period in our history, our people miraculously reestablished the modern Jewish state of Israel. We have always gotten back up. We have always emerged stronger. And if all we do is fight anti-Semitism, if all we do is respond to slurs and clean up swastikas and react to hate, then where does that leave us? To be Jewish is not just to endure, it is to rise, it's to rebuild, it is to believe in a brighter and stronger future even when the world gives you reason not to. So today I say to you clearly, be Jewish proudly and unapologetically and unstoppably. Join AJC in ensuring that the Jewish future is bright. A future where Jewish people are not only safe, but thriving, where Israel is at peace, and a welcome member of the community of nations, and where democratic values continue to flourish. Pirkei Avot tells us that we are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are we free to abandon it. We are doing this holy work together because the Jewish community needs us, because Israel needs us, because the world needs AJC. We will never abandon the work. We will do it with every fiber of our being. I want to thank you for coming to Global Forum. Thank you for supporting AJC, for giving to AJC, for leading AJC into the future. What I see from this stage, our future, the future of the Jewish people, has never looked brighter. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Am Yisrael Chai.